Hey, boys and girls. Bucky's down at the Crockpot trying out his new stand-up routine. Let's go down and see what happens.
So the other night, I'm in my Beanpot, and I'm kind of all alone and lonely, so I decided to get on my computer and surf the net, and all of a sudden, I came on this site called damselsindistress.com. It was for females who were kind of desperate, so I figured, hey, Bucky, you got a chance here. So I got on, and all of a sudden came on this profile that said Snow White. So I tried to connect, but all I got was an error message that said that I was on a PC, and in order to see Snow White, I needed an Apple. So I got a little frustrated and decided to let off a little steam, so I went out and beat up the fiery dragon next door. The next day I found out it was my neighbor's gas grill. So I felt a little guilty, so I went down to Home Depot to replace it. And when I got there, I saw 3 little pigs in the construction department. One was buying bricks, and the other was buying lumber, and one was buying straw because it was on sale. And the other 2 told him he was silly, so he cried, wee, 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 all the way home. We were all doing okay until we walked into the garden department and saw a big bad wolf buying a giant Huff and Puff leaf blower. So the pig with the brick says, I think I'm okay, but if I were you, I'd upgrade my home insurance. And that pig cried, wee, 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 all the way home. So I got in my spoon and I drove downtown to the Hood. Well, to be specific, it's Little Red Riding Hood. It can be a little rough, but it's where my grandmother lives. So my grandmother was just coming back from a date with a rapper known as the Big Bad Wolf. You know, the one with the latest hit single, Huffin' and Puffin', till I blow your house down. And all of a sudden, I ran out of gas, so I got on my cell phone to call a taxi. Instead, a giant coach pulled up with 4 coachmen. We got about a block before it turned into a pumpkin. So now I'm standing on the street with this pumpkin and a glass slipper on my foot. Next, a Lamborghini pulls up with a prince in it, and he's got the other one. So he says, jump in, so I did. And I said, what kind of prince are you? And he said, I'm not. I'm an artist formerly known as Prince. So now I'm staying in his place. It's a gated community known as Happily Ever After. And it's kind of nice because it keeps out the giants, wolves, and dragons. And the best part, it's right next to that gated community where all the damsels in distress live. But they got a giant fence that keeps us out. And we got a lot of glass slippers that we just ordered. So it's not working out so good for us. So the next thing is I get a phone call from my mother telling me she threw out all the beans I got when I sold the cow. And now we got a giant weed problem in the backyard. And I went home and investigated. Sure enough, it was loaded. So I climbed to the top to see how bad it was, and I ended up in the clouds. And so there's this giant castle right in front of me. And so I said to the groundskeeper, hey, who lives here? And he says it's a sleeping giant. And I said, that's what I thought you were gonna say. And I said, I suppose next you're gonna tell me that he's got a giant goose that lays golden eggs. And he said to me, not only that, he's got a harp that plays all by itself. And all of a sudden I get goosebumps because I hear this voice saying, fee, fi, fo, fum. And I'm thinking, hey, Jack, it's time to run. And so I hate to admit it, but I cried, wee, 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 all the way home. Hey, that's all my time, folks. Thanks a lot.
Boy, that Bucky sure is one funny guy, huh? Talking about Snow White and damsels in distress and pumpkins and princes, and then finding out that all of the beans were tossed away and he ended up in a castle in the clouds with the giant and the goose that laid the golden eggs. Pretty funny stuff. Well, stay tuned.